When you think about the world of investigation, one name probably pops into your head for pure, cold logic: Sherlock Holmes. But what if the next Sherlock wasn't a person at all? Today, we're going to dive into this powerful new partnership between AI and human detectives, and trust me, it's changing everything.
And look, this isn't just some sci-fi question. It really gets to the very heart of how modern investigations work. It frames this brand new and kind of fascinating relationship between machine logic and good old human intuition. So to really get why this team-up is so critical, you have to understand what a modern crime scene even looks like. Forget about a dusty room and fingerprints. Today's crime scenes, whether we're talking corporate fraud or criminal cases, are built on absolute mountains of digital evidence.
Okay, get this. For just one single complex investigation, we are talking about more than 10 million files. That's millions of emails, financial records, chat logs, social media posts, you name it. It's a digital haystack so massive that finding the needle is pretty much impossible for any human team.
And, buried somewhere in all that noise is that one inconsistency, that one hidden connection, the one tiny clue that can crack the entire case wide open. And that's exactly where our first character, the AI, makes its grand entrance.
All right, so let's meet the first half of our detective duo, the brilliant, logical, and, often emotionally detached AI. You'll see it mirrors the legendary Sherlock Holmes in some pretty surprising ways. A lot like Holmes himself, this AI's real power comes from treating a case like a pure intellectual puzzle. It can churn through evidence for days on end without any bias, without getting tired, and without any emotional baggage, just focusing on the cold, hard facts and the patterns they make.
And these strengths, man, they are perfectly suited for that mountain of data we were just talking about. An AI can do things in minutes that would take a human team months. Think about it, spotting one fraudulent transaction among millions, or instantly mapping out a tangled web of shell companies. It's a complete game changer.
And this is a huge but. Just like Sherlock Holmes, our AI has some critical blind spots. It can tell you what's in the data, but has no idea why any of it matters. It doesn't have real intuition. It can't grasp the messy, complex world of human motivation, things like greed or loyalty or fear. It sees the what, but it completely misses the why.
And that's our cue for the second, and I mean absolutely essential member of the team to step in, the human investigator, playing the role of the grounded, empathetic Dr. Watson.
See, the human investigator's job isn't to try and outcompute the AI. No way. Their job is to bring something to the table that logic alone just can't handle. It's to complement that cold processing power with skills that are, at least for now, uniquely human.
I mean, these are the skills where we as humans still run circles around any algorithm. You just can't program a machine to build real trust with a grieving victim, or to make a tough ethical call in some legal gray area. That takes judgment, it takes experience, and it takes a real moral compass. Okay, so we've got our Sherlock and we've got our Watson. The big question is, how does this actually play out? How do they really work together to crack a case?
Right here, this is where the magic really happens. The AI can scan 1 million documents and flag one tiny little inconsistency that a human would have missed 1,000 times over. But it's the human investigator, our Dr. Watson, who realizes that detail matters, who uses it to build rapport in an interview, and who ultimately makes the final ethical call on what to do next. So you see, the big takeaway here isn't replacement, it's empowerment. The AI is this incredibly powerful tool, this superpowered magnifying glass that lets the human detective focus on what they do best: thinking, connecting with people, and making judgments.
Right now, and for the foreseeable future, a human has to be in the driver's seat of the investigation. And why is that? It comes down to one word: accountability. Courts, companies, the public, they all need a person to be responsible for the conclusions, to stand up and testify, to make sure the whole process was fair. Let's be honest, the algorithm said so just isn't going to cut it.
Okay, so that human-led model works great for today, but what about tomorrow? As AI gets smarter, and it is getting a lot smarter, is Watson always going to be the boss of Sherlock? Let's take a look at how this whole dynamic could shake out.
If you look out over, say, the next 15 years, you're probably going to see this slow but steady shift. AI is going to start leading more of the routine, data-heavy investigations, especially in the corporate world where efficiency is everything. It might handle things like initial fraud monitoring, with a human just stepping in to validate the final findings.
But even way down the road, even if an AI is doing all the heavy lifting and basically handing over a completed preliminary case file, that final sign-off, that ultimate legal and ethical accountability has to rest with a person. That human oversight is the critical backstop that makes the whole system work.
And honestly, this is probably the best way to think about it for the long haul. The AI provides the raw power, the incredible speed, the analytical horsepower. But it's the human who provides the direction, the judgment, who steers the investigation towards a just and fair conclusion.
So all of this, it leads us to one last, pretty provocative thought about what this partnership between our new Sherlock and Watson really means for the future of justice. Right now, the roles feel pretty clear, don't they? The AI digs up the clues, and we humans provide the judgment. But as AI evolves from just a simple magnifying glass into a true investigative partner, will that answer always be so elementary? You know, for justice in the 21st century, figuring that out just might be the greatest detective story of all.